Hey, Bobby, everyone, it's a treat. St. David's, all of you who have put this thing together is pretty remarkable. A shout out to GSD&M, my family over here, my son-in-law Jason, and these guys over Chris and Melinda and Deborah who had a little vision about Austin Man, Austin Woman, all these magazines, and then started the Year of Giving. Appreciate what you guys do as well. My partner Judy, hi. Okay, here's what, y'all go ahead and eat really. I'm just kidding. Here's what is remarkable about what is going on with this program. First of all, Bobby said it. The fact that 2 or 3 years ago, you guys went to Minneapolis, St. Paul, saw this program called Keystone or whatever it was, and decided to bring it back to Austin instead of trying to reinvent something here is the way we're going to solve the problems of America. The mayor knows this. In times of great turmoil or chaos, we need to go find solutions that are already built on the ground. As Sam Walton used to tell me, oh Roy, he liked me because that's the name of his dog food. No, oh Roy. No shit, really. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that. He said, now remember, oh Roy, don't invent anything. Steal the idea, make it better, and scale it. And by the way, it's a lot cheaper. Of course, he wasn't cheaper. The thing was, honestly, when he first called me, I was 29 years old, he called collect. That's how cheap he was. But anyway, here's the net point on that, and we're going to get into purpose. The leaders of this country, thank God, Austin's, we had our own problems, but we're pretty dadgum lucky because of visionary leaders like the mayor and others. In times of great chaos, we've got to go find solutions that are already there. Ordinary people around this country are doing extraordinary things. If you want to see, I was telling some people a while ago, if you want to see how the poorest neighborhood in Atlanta, Georgia is now literally the poorest neighborhood, the highest crime rate, the highest unemployment, the highest dropout rate, it's called Eastlake now. A guy named Tom Cousins, who by the way built Frost Towers, a developer in Atlanta, went to the ground 15 years ago and rebuilt this community from the ground up. Highest graduation rate now. There was one burglary last year. They beat all the test scores. It's African American community of all the other schools in Atlanta. Mayor, if you want to see a community built, he's now skating on it in Indianapolis, New Orleans, and a bunch of other cities. It's called purpose-built communities. If you want to see how well-being is done around the country, not now because I'm talking, get on your internet, and I'm good, so there you are. I don't even have notes. And go to a thing called Blue Zone. Blue Zone was developed by Dan Buettner. He was commissioned by National Geographic to go around the world and see where the people who live to be 100 live and why. And now the Blue Zone, we're going into 3 communities in California, the whole state of Iowa, and we're truly transforming communities into well-being communities. Example, one of the issues with our young people is school buses. You say, why? Well, they don't walk to school anymore. So what we did, and by the way, in a little town in Minneapolis, we went and vetted the seniors, and now the seniors are walking the kids to school. These are common sense. I remember there was this huge debate in Georgetown not too long ago, about 15 years ago, about where to put the walking paths. And an old person stood up and said, well, where people walk. Where people walk. So, the purpose of giving. I had not thought about it, Deborah, until this morning. What is the purpose of giving? And, you know, when you hear things like kind speech, compassion in your heart, serving others, are the things that renew humanity, that was said by Buddha. Love thy neighbor as thyself was said by Jesus. If you want to serve your Creator, serve your neighbors first. That was said by Muhammad. If you want to find yourself, get lost in the service of others. That was said by Gandhi. That common thread is, and we're all kind of going through life realizing now it's not a dress rehearsal, that in a sense the common thread is, I used to think if I didn't know where I was going, I'd never be lost. I think about it. That's good. And then I finally realized one day that if I didn't know where I was going, I'd never be found. This is what purpose is about. And so I really believe that purpose and the purpose of giving is maybe the most personal thing you'll ever decide to do. And again, I had not thought about it until today. How you decide to give and why you decide to give is up to you. I want to tell you a quick story about our agency and what affected our giving strategy. We started the business, Judy and three other ones, in 1970 before you were born. I was a child prodigy from Brownwood, and there's not really many, actually. And we did multimedia shows, and people paid us for it. And then we graduated, I think, and we said, what the hell are we going to do here? And one of my partners said, well, I sold ads at the Daily Texan. That gives our clients a lot of confidence, by the way. And so we decided to do an advertising agency. We had no idea what it was. I think Judy maybe bought your TV station first, but I went down to City National Bank. The old timers remember City National? I had brand new tie-dyed t-shirt. My ponytail was looking awesome. And I went to a guy named John Oliver and sat down at his desk. He was a loan officer. And he said, excuse me, son, do you have an appointment? And I said, no, but you don't look very busy. And he said, we need a $5,000 loan for our business. He said, well, what's your business plan? I said, let's see, stay together, stay in Austin, and make a difference. Hey, where's the money? And by the way, 41 years later, our partnership is still together. Thank you. It's still in Austin, and in little ways we're trying to make a difference. But he loaned us the money, the $5,000. We paid it back a couple of weeks ago. And about 15 years ago, Mayor, we were at the Headliners. By the way, the Headliners, you had to wear ties, and I refused, so I just sat outside like a dog. And everybody else, no, seriously, I refused. And now I just wore them out. But anyway, we're at the Headliners Club, and a guy walks up to me, and he said, hey, Roy, do you see that gentleman over there sitting down with a cane? Do you know who he is? And I went, yes, sir, he's Robert Sneed, a mentor of all of us when we were in college. He said, you remember that $5,000 that y'all borrowed 25 years ago? And I said, like it was yesterday. And he said, do you know that Robert Sneed co-signed that note and never told you? Because he wanted you guys to believe that you got it on your own. Let me tell you what our philosophy about giving, and we just happen to run into it. It's nothing more than passing it forward. People help you, you help other people. That's just the way it works. And as you're passing it forward, you can do it in so many different kinds of ways. In 2003, 2002, I decided to take a road trip in Texas, just by myself. And somehow I got pulled over in all these little towns. I went all the way down to Port Aransas, and I was just wandering like I want to do. And I kept running into these little churches, and I kept walking into these churches, and I called Judy, my partner. I said, I got to do another book. And she hung up on me. But anyway, literally. I want to do a book called The Amazing Faith of Texas. And I want to go out there and find out what unites Texans, not divides them when it comes to faith. So we went out there with Mike Blair and a photographer named Randall Ford. And here's what I found out on this journey, and it has a lot to do with giving. I wanted to find out what united us. It's easy to find out what divides us. By the way, you'll never get anywhere on common ground. You have to go to higher ground. Our politicians need to know that, by the way. Higher ground is where all good things happen. Great lesson we learned. The wrong question was, what is your religion and how does that affect your faith? That's the wrong question. Because once you mention the word religion, I got to tell you about it. So finally, Mike Blair called me from the road and he said, we're asking the wrong question. We need to ask people what they believe in. And how does that affect your faith? This book is a journey of every religion in this state. And let me tell you what people believe in. And I think it's true across the country, maybe the world, honestly. Number one, they believe in God. And they are tolerant of your belief in it, God. Number two, the values that they cherish the most, regardless of any religion. Number one, compassion. Second, humility. I'm working on that one. Third, forgiveness. And the number one value is charity. When we appeal to humans' best instincts instead of their worst, people believe that they should pass it forward. They also believe in the golden rule. On my neck is a symbol of every religion in the world, just to cover my bases. No, the reason is because every religion in the world has a version of the golden rule. Every one. Every one. You treat people like you want to be treated. So charity is not just something we do at luncheons. It's the human spirit. So passing it forward is in a lot of different ways. Now, you might want to know why I brought my Roy's hot sauce. You can get it at Whole Foods, Central Market. I'm a sales guy. No, the reason we were blessed to start our business. The miracle of America was we were born different. We were born to say to the world that if you're willing to cross the high seas with nothing more than a shirt on your back, if you're willing to dream big, if you're willing to work hard, if you're willing to play by the rules, if you're willing to serve the greater good, then here in America, it does not matter where you come from, or the color of your skin, or your last name, or what class. If you are here and doing those things, and by the way, it's the only instatable entitlement we have in this country, is the American dream. If you're willing to do these things, you can dream and you can build. Disney said it the best. Remember, I started with a big dream and a mouse. So we started our business, the wonderful people at GSD&M, and now I'm doing this because on the back of my hot sauce it says my purpose is to inspire people to don't do mild in life. Follow your dreams, follow your passion and your purpose. Here's what's going to happen in America. We are not going to cut our way out of this, and we're not going to spend our way out of this. We're going to create our way out of it. The doers and dreamers, the young and young at heart. So passing this forward, we have a Don't Do Mild award every year at the RISE convention. And so I give two entrepreneurs, the dreamers, a little bit of startup to get them going. Now, a couple of things. That's a pretty small example. I'm going to talk about a big example about the purpose of giving. And by the way, I'm going to be on time. Or I'll just be talking and y'all leave. But no. I promised my wife of 35 years that I would not miss any of my kids' birthdays if we had any. Now, 2 girls, no problem. They're all gone. They're all coming back. But my son was 15, and I got a call to do this emergency thing. And I realized I was going to miss it was my son's birthday. And I realized I was going to miss it. So I asked these 2 gentlemen that I was with if they might do a special video for my son. So Deborah, I'm going to play this first video, and then I'm going to tell you why I played it. So. I got home 2 minutes till midnight and gave this to my son. By the way, 2 years ago I was in Haiti with President Clinton. If you want to see, anyway, and it was my son's birthday, and he did another video. My 2 daughters called me 2 days later and said, please miss my birthday, would you? So we're working through that. This is what purpose looks like. These 2 gentlemen ran against each other. And a tsunami hit 2,000 miles away, and we didn't even know the name of that country. And these 2 people raised $2 billion in 2 days. This is what our country needs to start doing again. And I'm not just talking this, because instead of building the ship of state, our politicians, except the mayor, I'm not stupid. Instead of building the ship of state, we build partisanships. We got to start building the ship of state. That's what they did. When Katrina happened, got them together. When Ike hit, George Bush called Bill Clinton and said, would you come down to Texas? It only hit Galveston and Houston, but will you help us raise money? When Haiti happened, I got he and W together. That was interesting. I feel like I'm eHarmony for politicians. But the point more than that, thank you. The point more than that is that giving is natural. Isn't it? If you don't think about you, giving is natural. Our company, basically with the head of Duff Stewart now, who's been with us a while, and Mary Ann and all of our colleagues, handed me this chart today. This is what we give. There are 40 of them. Now, those in philanthropy know that's kind of stupid because you get no credit if you do too many. That's our point. Austin gave us our birth. And they're broken into 4 categories: education and development, health and well-being, the environment, the Austin community, and the creative community. And every day we wake up, we thank Austin for giving us a chance to live the dream. It's passing it forward. That's all we do, and it came naturally. Secondly, and I hope it goes to White, I want to tell you something else. When Herb Kelleher hired us, by the way, we were 28 years old. He had 28 airplanes. I don't know if I'd ever flown. I shaved the story of our careers a little bit when I pitched him. But the great thing that Herb taught me is how to drink and smoke on the job. He's best in the world at it. Mayor, I used to make a joke that I didn't know he drank until one day he came into the meeting sober. But my point is, beyond that, Herb Kelleher gave us a break. Sam Walton gave us a break. Norm Brinker gave us a break. The state of Texas gave us a break. We got to handle Don't Mess, the lottery, tourism. Charles Schwab gave us a break. John Deere gave us a break. LL Bean gave us a break. DreamWorks gave us a break. BMW gave us a break. The United States Air Force gave us a break. Zales gave us a break. And at some point, we got to use our talent to use the medium to help change behavior for good. I want to play 4 spots. This is about tithing our talents. Here's the fun thing, and Jay, our executive creative director, will tell you this. When you've got purpose on your side and you're in our business, it is so much fun to do creative because we're not trying to get you to buy anything. We're trying to communicate what we stand for, our clients stand for. That first commercial, I'm an American, is the most proud thing we've ever done, that I've ever done, not at the agency, but we were in Annapolis when 9/11 happened, and we had 2 clients involved, the United States Air Force and, of course, Southwest, not directly. We were driving back, and we were with David Crawford and a bunch of us, and I kept saying, I don't want us to strike one of our own during this time just because we look different or sound different. So we got directors all over the country, and all they filmed from people, every walk of life, I'm an American. And we got on the air in 10 days, and it played more than any PSA ever. When we're our best. By the way, E Plurimus Unum was our first slogan is America. I had no idea until I woke up and Googled it. And you know what it means? Out of many, one. Diversity is the strength of America. We were born that way. We better make that strength again. So, a couple other quick things and we'll wrap it up. My dad, he was 6'5", and he was 5'10" when he was 16, and he grew 6 inches or whatever it is in 2 years. I thought I was going to be Joe Namath. No, really. I thought this is going to be awesome. I'm going to be Joe Namath, get girls, drink, stuff. And I didn't grow an inch. So, but my dad grew up in Eagle Pass, Texas. His name was Roy. And he had to drop out of school in the 7th grade to support his family. My dad was a hugger. Would walk across the border from Eagle Pass, Pigos Negros, and everyone knew my daddy. His dad was named Roy, so they called my dad Royito, little Roy. And they called me Royito. You go back to Brownwood, they don't know who Roy is. He was a hugger. And so when he passed away, I was Jay was with me in Germany, and we were going to BMW. We made ourselves stay up all day because, it's what you do, try to get some sleep tonight. So I started to go to sleep. My dad just passed away 2 weeks ago. It was raining, and I started thinking about him. And that night, I wrote this book called The 10 Essential Hugs of Life. I read it to Jay, and he said, really good, let's go to the meeting. So it gave me a lot of encouragement. But let me tell you, men, number one, you need to hug your sons. Hugs are the greatest healing thing. So I want to tell you real quick with the 10 hugs. By the way, there are different kinds of hugs, like the mind hug, heart hug, touch hug, bear hug. Mind hug are the ones that you really don't want to hug at all, but you need to. First of all, you got to hug yourself, or you can't hug somebody else. Secondly, you got to hug your family, ... all of them. Even if it's a mind hug. You got to hug your friends. Because you know what my dad always taught me too is that hug everybody because everyone's fighting some kind of battle. And you never know. Anybody see King's speech? Kings fight battles. You got to hug your flag, meaning where you come from. Some of us were blessed to come from awesome places, others not so. But that's where you come from. And you got to go back and hug your teacher or your preacher or your school or your park or whatever that gave you hope. You got to hug your fears. I'll show you how. You got to hug your failures. You own them. I did not know this until I wrote that night. I wish I'd learned this a long time ago because I'm fairly competitive. Failures are not coming up short like a pitch or a football game. Failures are about character. Coming up short is different than failing. You got to hug your failures. You got to hug your first. Go back and remember the first time you rode your bicycle, you drove a car. Music helps, by the way. You got to hug your finals. Some finals are awesome, like the last day of school. Some are pretty tough with your parents or your sisters or your friends. You got to hug them. Because what happens when you hug your finals, another first happened. Think about this. Helen Keller is my hero. 19 months into her life, she lost everything. She lost her hearing, her sight, her speech. And yet she had the brave heart to say things like, so many people are so focused on the doors that just shut, you don't see the ones that just opened. The final thing you got to hug is your future, especially young people and parents to young people. Mandela told Bill Clinton in that little 8x7 cell that he was there for 24 years, and Clinton was with him, and they were looking out this tiny little window. And Nelson Mandela said, you know, they took my wife and my family. They took my money and my land. But they didn't take my mind or my heart or my future, because I would have had to give it to them, and I refused. You can give away a lot of stuff, and that's important, but don't give away your future. So, in kind of closing, I'm going to play a final video. By the way, give Deborah thank you. She's running it. She's awesome. Isn't she good? And by the way, all the people who do, y'all need to thank, first of all, the people who are serving the table and the food. Y'all are doing an awesome job. And all the AV people, thank you very much for putting this together as well. A friend of mine at Walmart said, steeped in purpose, I want to show you a video. He said, I'm going to send you a video, and I want you to play it, because this is what purpose sounds like. And I went, okay, so here we go. I called Doug the next morning, and he said, this is what purpose sounds like. Think about America just for a second, and the purpose of our great country. He said, first of all, everybody needs to know the words to the song. Secondly, you got to listen to one another. Third, you got to stand up when it's your turn. Fourth, it sounds awesome when you sing together. And fifth, it really helps to have a good song to sing. We have a great song to sing at Austin Gives. We got to know the words to the song. We got to listen to one another. We got to stand up when it's our turn. And today is proof that when you sing together, it's pretty beautiful. Final point, I was in New York about 4 years ago. I'd had a tough couple of 3 days, long days. I went back to the hotel, and I kept flipping through the channels, and that show, that Nancy Grace show, you know what I'm talking about? Kept going, coming back and forth, and every mother's bad, every dad's bad, every aunt's bad, every dog's bad, whatever. And I was looking at it and went, that's not what I think about this country. And a great French philosopher once said, we'll cease to be great if we cease to be good. I have a pedometer, so I decided to walk across America. You can see the logic to it. And I practiced telling my wife that every night coming back home. And she was gardening, and I walked home, and I said, hey, Mary, I got something to talk to you about. It's pretty big. I'm going to walk across America. And she said, well, whatever. So I got my backpack, and every mile it beeps, and I'm going to take a picture of something good every mile. My mom used to read Two Roads Diverged in a Yellow Wood, and Sorry I Cannot Travel Both and Be One Traveler. I never knew what that meant, Judy. I had no idea. Why can't you do those two roads? Until I got on the road. And every mile I took something good. It was hard sometimes. But here's what I now know about life and why this is so important, y'all are doing. You actually become what you look for in life. I did not know that. If you look for enemies, you'll find them. If you look for hate, it'll live right in your heart. If you look for gossip, it will consume you. And if you look for fear, it'll follow you. But if you look for friends, you'll be befriended. And if you look for love, it'll lift you up. If you look for the truth, it'll set you free. And if you look for hope, it'll take you to higher ground. You know what you do here in this group? We're looking for friends in need, aren't we? We're looking to offer a little bit of love up for those who might need a little bit. We're looking for the truth to shine a light on the situations that we might not want to look at, but if we know what they're there, we'll go solve them. And we're looking for hope, because that's what they need more than anything else. And by the way, when you look for friends and you look for love and you look for the truth and you look for hope, it comes back to you. So thank you for allowing me to be part of this family. Thank you for the friends and love and hope and truth that you bring to our community. It's been a real treat. Thanks a lot.